Canada has some of the highest rates of depression and anxiety in the developed world. 1 in 5 Canadians will experience a mental health problem in any given year. And while we're spending billions on medication, on therapy, on awareness campaigns, all of which have real value and real place, while almost completely ignoring the fact that your brain is a physical organ that is built from and runs on the food you eat. The food you had for breakfast today affected your brain chemistry. The food you've been eating for the last 5 years has affected your brain's physical structure, and nobody in your doctor's office is talking to you about it. That pisses me off. So let's talk about it. Here's the thing. I'm a holistic nutritionist. I've been doing this for 15 years now. I look at the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, because that's what holistic actually means. I want to be very clear about what this video is and what it isn't before we start. This is not an anti-medication video. If you are on medication for mental health, this is not me telling you to stop. Medication saves lives. Therapy saves lives. I'm not here to mess with that. What I am saying is that the conversation about mental health in this country is missing an enormous piece, the biological, nutritional piece. And that missing piece is leaving a lot of people suffering unnecessarily, because food and mental health are not separate conversations. They're the same damn conversation. And the research on this has exploded in the last decade in a way that is not made it into mainstream practice anywhere near fast enough. So today, we're catching up. This sounds obvious, but I don't think we actually sit with it. Your brain is a physical organ. It is made of fat, protein, water, and a dense concentration of micronutrients. It requires a constant supply of specific nutrients to produce neurotransmitters, to maintain myelin sheaths around nerve cells, to manage inflammation, to regulate the stress response, and to do the repair work it does every night during sleep. It's a very active organ. When those nutrients are missing or insufficient, which they are for a significant portion of the Canadian population, brain function is compromised. Neurotransmitter production is impaired. Inflammation increases, the stress response dysregulates, and the symptoms of that look a lot like depression, anxiety, brain fog, irritability, and emotional dysregulation. We have a system that looks at these symptoms separately and reaches for a prescription, often appropriately, but rarely asks, what is this person eating? What nutrients are they missing? What is their gut doing? What is their inflammatory food? These fucking questions matter, and the answers change outcomes. Let's start with the most uncomfortable finding, because this one should be front page news, and it isn't. Multiple large-scale studies have now found a strong, consistent association between ultra-processed food consumption and rates of depression and anxiety. A 2023 study of nearly 32,000 women found that higher ultra-processed food intake was significantly associated with increased risk of depression and anxiety, even after controlling every other damn variable researchers could think of. Similar findings have come out of this study in the UK, Spain, Brazil, and elsewhere. The association is not subtle, it is strong, and it is consistent. And we're not talking about junk food makes you feel like shit. We're talking about a dietary pattern, ultra-processed foods as a significant portion of daily intake, being associated with measurably higher rates of clinical depression and anxiety. The mechanisms proposed include gut microbiome disruption, chronic inflammation, blood sugar dysregulation, and direct neurological effects of food additives, probably all of the above. The ultra-processed food share of the average Canadian diet is somewhere between 45 and 50%. Nearly half of what we're eating on average is ultra-processed shit. And we have recorded rates of depression and anxiety and are scratching our heads wondering why. I'm not saying that the food is the only cause. I'm saying it is a cause that we are systematically ignoring while spending billions treating the downstream consequences. So let's get specific, because this is where it becomes actionable. Here's the version with how this goes with food. Your brain is roughly 60% fat. DHA is literally built into your brain cell membranes. The EPA keeps inflammation in the brain under control. The research on omega-3s for depression is some of the most convincing in nutritional science. EPA in particular has shown real antidepressant effects in multiple large reviews, with fewer side effects than medication. The countries where people eat the most fish consistently have the lowest rates of depression. That's not an accident. Wild, fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring, 2 to 3 times a week is the goal. If you're plant-based, this one can be a little trickier. Flax seeds, chia, and walnuts contain omega-3s, but your body converts them to the usable forms so inefficiently that you can't rely on them alone. The real answer is an algae-based omega-3 supplement. Pre-formed EPA and DHA, no fish required, and honestly, it's where the fish get their omega-3s from in the first place. It's not a compromise, it's the original source. Magnesium, it keeps coming up because it keeps goddamn well mattering. Your body uses magnesium to regulate your stress response, and when you're low, your stress system runs hotter than it should. It also affects the receptors involved in mood regulation, and low levels show up consistently in people struggling with depression and anxiety. Most Canadians aren't getting enough, and stress, alcohol, refined sugar all burn through your stores faster. The good news is for plant-based eaters is that magnesium is all over plant-based foods. Dark green leafy vegetables, pumpkin seeds, hemp hearts, black beans, edamame, whole grains, dark chocolate. If you're not hitting it through food consistently, magnesium glycinate as a supplement is gentle, well absorbed, tolerated well by most people, and absolutely fucking worth it. And I won't live without mine. Zinc. Low zinc is strongly linked to depression, and there's actual trial data showing that adding a zinc supplementation helped people with depression who weren't getting enough from their antidepressants alone. It's involved in neurotransmitter balance, brain adaptability, and how your body handles stress. Top animal sources are oysters by a wide margin, and then red meat. For plant-based people, pumpkin seeds, hemp hearts, lentils, chickpeas, cashew, tofu. The catch is that the plant-based foods also contain compounds that may interfere with zinc absorption, so you need to eat more of it to get the same effect. Soaking and sprouting or fermenting legumes and grains helps. A zinc supplement is a reasonable backup if you're not sure if you're getting enough. B vitamins, B12, folate, B6, those 3 B vitamins specifically. Your brain makes serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, the neurotransmitters that regulate mood, and B vitamins are essential to the whole process. B12 is a big one for plant-based eaters. It's almost entirely absent from plant foods. And deficiency is not a matter of when, but if without supplementation. Don't gamble on this one. Supplement directly or use fortified foods like nutritional yeast, fortified plant milks, and fortified cereals, but make supplementation your anchor. Folate is where plant-based diets tend to shine. Lentils, black beans, avocado, leafy greens, asparagus, these are all excellent. B6 is in chickpeas, bananas, potatoes, sunflower seeds. A decent B complex covers your bases if your diet is limited or if your gut absorption isn't great. Vitamin D. Your brain has vitamin D receptors, so does basically every other damn cell in your body. Low levels are linked to depression, and supplementing in people who are deficient genuinely improves mood. Canadians are almost universally low, especially in winter. Neither animal nor plant food gives you enough to matter. UV exposed mushrooms, so mushrooms that you leave out in the sun before cutting them, are one of the exceptions on the plant side, but you can't count on them as a primary strategy. Sunlight when you can get it, supplementation when you can't. Get your levels checked if you haven't. Most people in Canada need to be supplementing from October through to April at a minimum. Iron, especially important if you are menstruating, you eat plant-based, or donate blood regularly. Fatigue, brain fog, irritability, and flat mood can all show up well before that point and get misread as depression all the time. Plant-based sources like lentils, tofu, tempeh, pumpkin seeds, white beans, black sharp molasses, dark green leafy vegetables are solid, but the iron in them is not absorbed as easily as the iron from meat. But this is a very easy fix for us plant-based eaters. Just eat them with some form of vitamin C. So lemon juice, bell peppers, broccoli, tomatoes, and also avoid drinking tea or coffee right around iron-rich meals because the tannins seem to block absorption. If you're fucking exhausted and flat and nothing seems to be helping, ask your doctor for a full iron panel. Ferritin, serum iron, transferrin saturation, not just the standard hemoglobin check. Your gut and your brain are in constant conversation with one another. And this is where nutrition research is moving the fastest right now and where mainstream mental health treatment is most behind. Your gut produces about 90% of your body's serotonin. The bacteria living in your gut that make neurotransmitters keep inflammation in check and talk directly to your brain through its vagus nerve. A dedicated communication line running between the two, up and down. Your gut microbiome, when it's out of balance, which it is for most people eating a typical Western diet, the ripple effects include poor neurotransmitter production, more inflammation in the brain, and a stress response that's basically stuck in the on position. There are now real clinical trials showing that probiotic supplementation improves symptoms of depression and anxiety. The field even has a name now, psychobiotics. While we're still early in understanding just how much gut health drives mental health, but what we know right now is already actionable. Daily fermented foods, enough fiber, way less ultra-processed foods, and if you've been through a significant antibiotic treatment, actively rebuilding your microbiome is a worthwhile ongoing project. And nobody is talking about this shit in your doctor's office. And that pisses me off, honestly. This doesn't need to be complicated. It needs to be consistent. So for what you're actually eating. Fatty fish 2 to 3 times a week, wild salmon, sardines, and mackerel, or a fish oil supplement with at least 1 to 2 grams of EPA daily. And if you're plant-based, an algae-based omega-3 supplement gives you the EPA and DHA directly. No fish needed and genuinely equivalent. This is not optional. I don't care how inconvenient that is. Your brain is literally made up of this stuff. Dark leafy greens every day. Spinach, kale, chard, arugula, folate, magnesium, iron, B vitamins, all in one place. Eat them with some fat, like avocados, so that your body actually absorbs the nutrient. This one works whether you eat meat or not, and there's no excuses to not be doing this. Eggs, if you eat them, they contain B12 and B6 and choline, which is critical for brain function and almost never talked about, which is frankly baffling. Zinc, selenium, whole eggs as often as you want them. And if you don't eat eggs, nutritional yeast is a solid source of B vitamins, including fortified B12. And choline shows up in soybeans, Brussels sprouts, and quinoa in smaller portions, but meaningful amounts. Fermented foods every day. Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, tempeh, kombucha. The gut-brain connection is real and the most direct food level thing you can do about it. Tempeh and miso in particular are great plant sources that also bring protein and other nutrients along with the gut benefits. This is not a trend. This is not wellness influencer bullshit. This is biology. Pumpkin seeds and hemp hearts, genuinely two of the most slept on foods for mental health. Zinc, magnesium, tryptophan, omega-3s, all in one handful, and you can throw in literally anything. If you're plant-based and you're not eating these on a regular basis, what the hell are you doing? Get them into you. Legumes, lentils, chickpeas, black beans, edamame, high in folate, iron, zinc, magnesium, and fiber that leads to the good bacteria in your gut. If you're plant-based, these should be showing up in your meals every damn day, not occasionally, daily, without a doubt. Cut way back on ultra-processed foods, not because perfection is the goal, it's not, and anyone telling you otherwise is selling you something, but the research on what ultra-processed food is doing to your brain is damaging enough now that I'd be straight up lying to you if I glossed over it. So some practical things that you can actually do. If you're on medication for mental health and want to explore the nutrition side of things, loop in your practitioner and prescriber before making any changes. This is not an either or situation. And if anyone is telling you it is, they're wrong. Food and medication work together and often better together than they do alone. Get blood work that includes B12, folate, vitamin D, ferritin, and zinc. Know your actual numbers. Don't guess, especially if you're plant-based, where B12 and iron in particular can quietly drop without you feeling obviously terrible until things are pretty far gone. Start with omega-3s and magnesium, best evidence, most commonly deficient, biggest bang for your buck on mood. Give it 8 weeks and actually pay attention to how you feel. Add 1 fermented food to 1 meal daily, today. That's it, 1 damn thing. You can do that. And notice how your mood tracks with what you're eating. Not obsessively, just pay attention. Maybe keep a food journal, maybe don't. Most people, once they actually start looking, are genuinely shocked by how clear the signal is. A good eating day and a bad eating day feel completely different, and most of us have been ignoring that our whole damn lives. So in closing, your brain is not a black box that only responds to medication and therapy. It is a biological organ that needs specific nutrients to function, that is directly wired to your gut, and that is affected measurably, consistently by what you eat every single damn day. This is not a fringe idea anymore. This is the science. And the fact that you can sit in a psychiatrist's office, get a prescription, and never once be asked what you eat, that is a failure, a real one. It's like a firefighter not knowing about water and fire. And until the system catches up, you have to advocate for this shit yourself. Eat your fatty fish or take your algae oil, get your magnesium, know your blood levels, feed your gut, And if you've been struggling and no one has ever thought to ask you what you eat, now you know how to ask that question yourself. Start somewhere. It all adds up. Subscribe for more No BS nutrition, and I'll see you in the next one.